Alright guys, the brand new Overwatch 2 season update, mid-season. We're looking at a change to ROADHOG specifically, but let's go over all of the patches. Starting right off, it's a really quick one with Orisa. All that really happened is Fortify, the health bonus, was reduced from 125 to 75, so 50 less over health over here. Now, keep in mind, you can actually cancel your Fortify if you want to early once maybe it runs out, so you can start that cooldown earlier, because 75 is not that much. So, small little slap on the wrist, I would say, for Orisa. Not going to really make the hero, like, super bad, but overall, a quick little nerf. Now, the thing that I think everyone is really excited, or maybe upset about, depending on if you're a ROADHOG main or not, ROADHOG apparently is like super nerfed to the point where a lot of people are thinking he's a throw pick. Let's go ahead and just check it out. I mean, I used to play Overwatch 1 and used to only really play ROADHOG. And we grind out to Grandmasters in OW1, so I feel like I got a good idea on this ROADHOG change, because they've actually made this change on the PTR before. It's very similar. So, first off, what are the changes with the hook? So, what's interesting with the hook is we can see up on the screen I have all the stats. So the chain hook, the impact damage is reduced from 30 to 5. So basically 25 damage nerf. So if I hook someone, the other change is I can't even melee them anymore. So you know how ROADHOG would normally, he would shoot, then he would hook, then he would shoot one more time, and then he would go for the melee. But you can't do that unless you walk forward. Now, I have seen people talk about this thing where you jump and then he could still basically one-shot like a 200 HP hero. We use Soldier kind of as our baseline. So, here are the changes also with the scrap gun, because this matters. So, his damage per pellet is changed from 6.6 to 6. And then the recovery time is also actually reduced. So, basically, he has a faster fire rate, and then also the reload time has been reduced. And he's got one more ammo. So if you played the ROADHOG on the PTR, it's kind of like that change. However, he doesn't have the ability to heal his entire team, which is what made the change actually worth it. Because they actually delayed this update because they said they needed to do some more work on it. When they just changed numerical values, maybe they actually had a different plan for ROADHOG and it just couldn't work out, so they just went ahead and did this. So, start off, the important thing is if I hook a 200 HP target and shoot, I can't even melee. Like, he still has half the HP, he can still use his abilities. This is probably going to be more relevant with, like, Reaper, right? But let's go ahead and do the, like, full combo at, like, the higher levels of ROADHOG. They always will right-click before going for a hook. And let's take, like, an average, you know, damage. We're not going to get, like, a perfect headshot. Let's just try something like this, right? The target still lives. Now, I have heard instead of going for the melee, once you have the setup, is you would actually go for a jump and shoot. So, that can confirm the target. And then you can go for the melee a little bit after. So, let's go ahead and use Reaper as an example. Because Reaper is a target where you could still realistically one-shot Reaper before. But now, can you do it? He lives with just 1 HP, and the weird thing is that melee, because they changed the distance, that actually matters quite a bit. Now, let's go to like a 200 HP target. Well, again, Soldier's the greatest target because he's like kind of like what I consider the average hitbox. Depending on the hero that you're playing up against, this would matter. But apparently the new strategy, okay, if you just want to go for a hook and then shoot without going for like a right click first, if I was to hook the target, I would then jump, and then I would go for the shot, and then I would go for the melee. And the target still has a little bit of HP. Now, I've seen a few videos, in fact, it was like on TikTok, where they're just showing off how ROADHOG can still one-shot. And it doesn't seem like it's very consistent. We can take another hero. Now, for example, Tracer, this would be super easy on because, like, well, it's Tracer, right? No, still can't even do it. I think that they destroyed Hog. Now, I saw the clips. Maybe they were edited, I don't know, but normally, like, you can't really eliminate 200 HP targets, I would say, with this newest update. You have to go for a right click first. It's just very inconsistent. Now, since his gun does apparently fire faster by 0.05, which is not really that big of a buff, even if I hook the target and just try to go for 2 shots, that would maybe be the next ideal thing to do. How much damage does it hit for if I just normally would shoot, right? That still shows off a one-shot. Can we still one-shot the training bot? Oh, okay, that was too close. So we could still one-shot a training bot if we right-click. And it's all perfect headshots. Realistically, this almost never happens on a ROADHOG, but you can still technically do it. Now, can we do it on like a 200 HP target? Oh, we were too close on that one, because the thing didn't like expand, so It needs to be absolutely perfect probably now if you want to right click to one shot. So you could still right click and one shot a 200 HP target, but as far as it being like a consistent thing, now I would say you probably don't even want a melee, because remember, if you grab someone and you go for a melee, it won't even actually be able to hit him, because the chain pull only goes up to 4 meters versus 3, like that's the distance. But let's see if we hook a Reaper. Can I just shoot him twice? Okay, so now you hook someone and you shoot twice. There's just no more melee involved, because one, it's going to be inconsistent because they're not going to be within range unless they walk forward or you walk forward, which takes another second, which is something you don't want. So this is a pretty massive change to ROADHOG, and I would say it's probably going to make people think he's a throw pick, but there's an interesting thing that I think people were talking about also over on Reddit, which was that since he gets to pull them further away from him, if I wanted to throw someone off, it technically makes it easier because they're not going to be able to like sit on the ledge, if that makes any sense, and kind of walk forward. This is something that can happen. So overall though, it's definitely a nerf to ROADHOG. Even though he's got one more ammo, I don't think that overall changes it. And on top of that, they changed the reload time by 0.25. I would say it's overall a nerf to ROADHOG. Is he going to be absolutely unplayable? I think your teammates are going to have to follow up. There's going to be so many times where they live in a real game, because this is like just with the training dummies, right? Where more than likely they're not going to be moving at all, versus like a real player is going to actually move and move out of the way. Now I think the thing that is going to be even more insane with this is Kirko becomes even better, because the target is going to be able to survive, right? For a little bit longer before maybe you get off that second shot, or Anna can land the sleep. There's just a lot of things that can happen in between that moment, which you could already do because Hog doesn't eliminate a target instantly. It takes a second because you have to usually hook them in, then you go for the shot, then you go for the melee, but now you have to. I think it's absolutely mandatory to right click. Now let me see it on Sojourn, because Sojourn was a target that you normally could not actually eliminate as ROADHOG. Okay, so you would still get him in another shot. So again, most of the targets are going to have to basically shoot twice. There are some targets where they were living with like 5 HP, like that Sojourn. But specifically Kirko, this target was already super hard to eliminate, and again, it's all going to be basically going not only for the just second shot, but sometimes you might even have to melee if you don't get the right click that actually hits for a decent amount of damage first. I guess it depends on the target, and we weren't going for a headshot there, but those are my tests with ROADHOG. I think overall we can admit that ROADHOG is going to be a lot more difficult to play. Now, there's another change with Sojourn. Let me go and actually swap to Sojourn, but this was like the patch that they delayed, and it's weird that they delayed it because I really feel like the changes weren't super big to ROADHOG. He didn't get like a new ability. I remember there was some leak that he had like a whirlwind ability. But anyways, maybe that was the original plan, because like I said, they said they delayed it. But as far as Sojourn goes, this is her change. So the energy gain is no longer based on the damage done by the primary fire. Well, what happened is when you had a Mercy Pocket, this thing would actually go up a lot higher. So how do I feel about this? I think Sojourn is still really good in the game. Now, it says that each primary fire hit against an enemy player grants 5 energy. I don't know if this also is changed for the objects that certain characters can generate or shields. I'm guessing that there's no change with that, so maybe if you have a Mercy Pocket, you could get extra damage against like Mei Ice Wall, but it's not really that relevant for the most part, because Mei isn't really like the most sought after here to see consistent play. But for the most part, I still think Sojourn is really good. I mean, you can see me just like melting content here, and it only has to do with her left click, and on top of that, it does 1 less damage. Does that really matter? And the answer is kind of yes, because the number matters, because it goes from 10 to 9, and that matters for headshots because on 200 HP heroes, the number won't match up, as in you're going to have to land another shot on the enemy before you're able to eliminate them. But I would still say Sojourn melts content very fast. It's not really that big of a deal. It's kind of like Orisa. It's like, yeah, it's a nerf, but is it that big of a deal? Probably not. Alright, let's move on to Kirko. Kirko actually took a nerf. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how the nerf looks. So, basically, in between, when you need a reload, there's a longer pause. It was 0.85 before, and now it is 1 second to actually be able to start going off again. So, one thing that this allows Kirko players to do is after you use all your ammo, because it regenerates regardless if you're in that animation or not. So after you go for your like heal, once you use all 5 of your cards, go for a shot and then continue healing, because there's a brief delay when it automatically reloads. So there is that. Also, let me see if we use all of this. Oh, let me like use some of the kunai first, and then I'm curious to know if I use all of this, then hit reload. Oh, then it reloads it, then it refreshes the cards. So the cards don't actually matter what status the character is actually in. So I guess Kirko is going to get a little bit less healing because of the change. So that's overall, again, straight up a nerf. No change to that. I think if anything should have been looked at, it was the bell. So since she didn't have her bell changed, I still think this character is absolutely insane. And probably still a must pick at the higher ranks of the game. But anyways, that's my thoughts on the patch notes. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below. I think ROADHOG, we'll get some full gameplay of ROADHOG, Sojourn. I don't really need to get gameplay of Kirko. It's not really necessary for these adjustments. But Orisa is still definitely going to be a very fantastic tank. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell if you want to see more Overwatch videos in the future. Take care. I'm out. Peace.